Michael Shikha Niketan Higher Secondary Government-sponsored co-ed English medium school has taken an excellent initiative of teaching and make our students learn day-to-day lessons through audio and video in our YouTube channel. Teachers of all the subjects are working hard to enhance these online classes in the midst of this pandemic situation. It is a request to all the teachers, students and guardians to click the bell icon and subscribe our channel.
So today we shall be starting from with the class 7. Last day for class 7 I have done the board work and done the explanation of Delhi Sultanate. Now we shall read about the next rule which have ruled on Delhi, that is Mughal Empire. Mughal Empire. So today we shall read about Mughal Empire. Okay. So now we will, before reading about Mughal Empire, we have to know some more ideas regarding Mughal Empire, and that is who were the founder or who founded Mughal Empire, who were the emperors who have ruled over Mughal Empire or the Delhi, and the other parts of what are the administrative part or how the Mughal emperors have ruled upon Delhi, or what are the other factors we shall read about. So let's start about the first knowing who founded Mughal Empire. Okay. So the founder of Mughal Empire is Babur. Okay. Who is the founder of Mughal Empire? The founder of Mughal Empire is Babur. So he founded Mughal Empire in the year 1526. So what is the year? The year is 1526. So the next is what was the capital city of Mughal Empire? So if there is any dynasty ruling over some area, there have to be some capital city. So to know what is the capital city of Mughal Empire, that is Agra. Everybody know about Agra. So Agra, Fatehpur Sikri was the capital city of Mughal Empire. Let me continue for the next parts here. There are total 18 emperors who have ruled over Delhi as a Mughal emperor. Okay, there are 18 Mughal kings or Mughal emperors who have ruled as a Mughal empire. Okay, but we will only knowing the names of some well-known kings who have ruled or who have founded or who have established Mughal empire. Okay, so the first name is Babur. Babur is the founder of Mughal Empire. He had founded Mughal Empire in 1526 to 30. It means he have ruled over Delhi only for 5 years. So next ruler, so Humayun. Humayun is the son of Babur. Humayun ruled Delhi Sultanate, Mughal Empire 1530 to 56. He was a good administrator. Now next is Akbar. We all know about Akbar because we have read so many instances, so many stories based on Akbar, Birbal story, Akbar's having a 9 James story. So Akbar was said to be one of the most powerful and rich and very clever and a very good establisher. So he named as Akbar, named as in the history of India, Akbar named as the establisher of Mughal Empire, and he was not very educated, like he cannot read, he cannot write, he was not having any education. Without having any education, at the age of 13, of your age maybe, at the age of 13, he started ruling the entire Mughal Empire. Okay, and from 1556 to 1605, almost 50 years, Akbar had ruled Mughal Empire. He was sitting in Agra as a capital. He ruled the entire subcontinents of India for 50 years. He was rich, clever and powerful and very good administrator, and he also named as an establisher of Delhi Mughal Empire. Okay, so next phase. So we shall be learning, after learning Akbar, the next ruler was Jahangir. Jahangir was the son of Akbar. We all know Jahangir's son was Shah Jahan. Both Jahangir and Shah Jahan was also a powerful ruler, but both of them had followed the imprints or the path of their forefathers. Okay, and the last powerful emperor said to be Aurangzeb, because after Aurangzeb there were many more kings have came who have ruled, but they were not as powerful as the way Aurangzeb had ruled. Make it very sure that Aurangzeb also ruled for 50 years, but during the rule of Aurangzeb, the decline of Mughal Empire was already started. So the foundation, the strong foundation of Mughal Empire were already started during the rule of Aurangzeb. But after the death of Aurangzeb, the entire Mughal Empire was scattered into pieces, and the total number of kings who had ruled, that is 18, I have already mentioned here, and the last higher, that is the last king of Mughal Empire was Second Bahadur Shah Zafar. We all know Second Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last higher or emperor or king or Badshah of Mughal Empire till 1857. So in 1857 we all know there was Sepoy Mutiny, and Sepoy Mutiny also named as the first war of independence. Don't forget that. Next is we shall be learning, after knowing all the names who have ruled over Delhi as a Mughal empire, we shall be knowing about from where the Mughals came from, who were the Mughals. Okay, acha. So Mughals said to be as a descendant of Mongol tribe leader Chengiz Khan. We all know Chengiz Khan. Okay, so Chengiz Khan said to be the higher descendants of Mughals, and Mughals named or said to be the descendants of Mongols tribal leader Chengiz Khan. But if you ask to any Mughal king, they will be saying that no, our ancestor is not Chengiz Khan or Mongol tribe leader Chengiz Khan, our ancestors is a Timurlen. So Timurlen wasn't very famous or very high in blood or high in very royal, was a king. So Mongol or the word Mughal are to some extent similar. Mongol is the name of a place, and from Mongol it's said to be, according to history, it's said to be that from the word Mongol, the word Mughal attributed, and hence from the same common meaning of attribution, historians said that maybe Chengiz Khan were their forefathers and the Mughals are the descendants of Chengiz Khan. But according to Mughal, they said to be, they attribute them as the descendants of Timurlen. Timurlen. Timurlane. Timurlen. It's a name of a person. Okay. Acha. After reading this, there are some notes which you have to read from your text, which you will find in your first page of your Mughal Empire, and the notes are Safavids and Uzbeks. So who were the Uzbeks and Safavids, that you have to read in your did you know box. Okay. So next we shall be reading about the Mughals. So Mughals were the sovereign ruler. So what is the meaning of sovereign ruler? The meaning of sovereign ruler was whose dominion was allowed or ruled the entire subcontinent. Okay. So what is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereign, the meaning of sovereign is whose dominion. Whose dominion here we are referring to? We are referring to the dominions of the Mughals or the Mughalians. So Mughalians dominion has been the ruling capacity of the entire subcontinent, not in India but outside of India. Today's outside of India, the areas of Tajikistan, Pakistan, Balochistan, Afghans, Deccans, the parts of Deccans from the Himalayan to the last part of your map, Indian map. So the entire area apart from Gujarat and Rajasthan, apart from those two regions, the entire dominion was under the ruling capacity of Mughalians, and Mughalians named as sovereign ruler. Next, we shall now, after knowing all the thing, let's come to the first founder of Mughal Empire. Okay, who's the first founder? As I already said, Mughal Empire's first founder was Babur. So with Babur, there were two battles which you have to read. Okay. First, Babur had fought two battles. First battle was named as the Battle of Khanua, which has fought in the year of 1527, and the number 2 battle is the Battle of Ghargara, which fought in the year 1529. So the first battle, that is the Battle of Khanua, fought against the Rana of Mewar. Okay, the Mewar is an clan or dynasty said as a Sisodia clan, and Mewar, today's Gujarat, Mewar, and the Rana is the king. Okay, so first battle fought, that is the Battle of Khanua in the year 1527 and versus Rana of Mewar. Number 2 battle fought between the Afghans and the battle or the battalions of Babur. So the number 2 battle was the Battle of Ghargara, which have fought in the year 1529 and versus Afghans. First battle with Rana of Mewar, number 2 battle with Afghans, and have been fought by Babur. Okay. So next, here, so turn your page number 73 in your book, in your textbook. Turn your page number 73 and come to the section of Did You Know box in the second part. Yes, so there you will find the reforms of Sher Shah Suri. So who was Sher Shah Suri? Sher Shah Suri was also an independent kingdom, was having a kingdom, and he was a very affluent king who had said to be that he had killed one tiger, and after killing a tiger, his name said to be or given a title of having a sher. So that's from that particular incident, that particular story, the name of Sher Shah Suri came from. Okay, which you will get in page number 73, don't forget. Okay, so let's read about what are the reforms. Every king or every kingdom is having some reforms. So here in this part, we shall be learning about the reforms of Sher Shah Suri. The first reform of Sher Shah Suri was, he had a very similar reform with Akbar and Alauddin Khilji. We all know Alauddin Khilji, which we have studied in the last chapter. Alauddin Khilji and Khilji dynasty. So Khilji was having a very similar, or I can say Sher Shah Suri is having very similar reforms with similarities with Akbar and Khilji. Okay, so Sher Shah's first reform was that he used to give patta to the peasant. What is the meaning of patta? Patta is the meaning of a land, and patta is a Turkian language or Turkish language. So peasant used to be provided as a land so that they can agriculture or they can cultivate on that particular land. So first reform was in Sher Shah's kingdom was that the peasants used to be provided with a patta. Sher Shah gave patta, that is land, to the peasants. Number 2, he developed roadways to develop communication. So during the rule of Sher Shah Suri, he also developed the roadways to develop the communication so that they can be communicating with other businessmen or other craftsmen, and so that there should be not any problem a traveler or a businessman may be faced. Okay. So the next is, after developing the roadways, he had also developed the restrooms. He had made restrooms for the travelers so that if they are failing or if they are feeling tired, then they can rest on that particular restrooms. So clever. Okay, the next point is he developed postal system. Do you know the postal system? What is the meaning of postal system? The meaning of postal system is something which a news or anything which can be posted. So during that time, obviously we don't have now a postman like the way we are having in today's generation, but during that time there were postal system which can be provided with as a horseman. So there was a horseman, you can give your news and that particular horseman may be delivering that particular post to some factor or some area of another horseman whom he will can carry forward. Okay, so like this way within 2 to 3 days or 4 days the huge area of land may be crossed and you will be getting your post. So that's he developed postal system, he didn't introduce, a developed postal system. And the last one is he introduced the DAG and Helua system to control over army. And to learn what is DAG and Helua system, you have to read the page number 73 properly. Okay. So next thing which you have to read very nicely, you have to know who were the 9 James of Akbar. We all know the 9 James of Akbar, but for further information, you have to read page number 75 to know the 9 James of Akbar. So Mughal Empire also named as Badshah or Padshah. So what is the meaning of Badshah? Badshah or Padshah, both are the Turkish language, Bad or Pa. Both are the Turkish language which named as a lord, and Shah is a monarch. So the land lord or the monarchical lord named to be as called to be as a Badshah. How Mughals established as a power, as a centralized power, we shall be knowing that further. So there are some of the tactics which have been followed by the generation wise of the Mughal Empire. So the first, that is Babur tried to build fortified, so he tried to build some fortification, some walls. Next, Humayun broke the Timurid tradition, the Timurland or Timurid traditions which they have followed, he broke. Who broke? Humayun broke. Then Akbar, assisted by Bairam Khan. We all know that Akbar had sat in the throne on the age of 13. So that's why he has been assisted by Bairam Khan. And then Akbar completely took the responsibility, responsibility upon his shoulder. Next, Akbar defeated Afghans in second battle of Panipat. First battle of Panipat has been fought between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur, and second battle of Panipat obviously been fought by the Afghan against Afghan with Akbar, and that is second battle of Panipat. Next, Akbar adopted divide and rule technique. So what is the meaning of divide and rule technique? So he in a friendly way he divided the Rajputanas or some other dynasties in a friendly way, so marrying their daughters, giving them some, saving them from some way, gifting them some things or products. So likewise he started dividing the community and he started establishing his kingdom or his ruling locality upon the Rajputanas too. Then Akbar wanted to establish as a local leader, but there were some thoughts of Akbar which he always followed, that Akbar always wanted to establish himself as a king, as a local ruler, not as a despotic ruler. Not as a despotic ruler, but as a local ruler. Next, during the time of Jahangir's rule, Jahangir followed the same administrative system, likewise Akbar and Humayun and Babur followed. So Jahangir did not did any something extraordinary, he only walked to the paths of his forefathers. Next, Shah Jahan's rule followed various revolt with the Deccan parts. Then there was fighting between among his son for the throne. And the last, that is during the rule of Aurangzeb, during the last powerful ruler of Aurangzeb, Aurangzeb definitely established some more policy. He has also some adopted the policies of feud and friendship simultaneously, slowly. And apart from that, he had also controlled the parts of Bijapur, Golconda, Deccan, Maratha, and also he also conflicted having the Rajputanas because he was not having a part of idea of having any friendship with the Rajputanas. So that's why he had a conflict with the Rajputanas, and during this time, during Aurangzeb's rule, the rise of Sikhism emerged. He adopted the policy of feudal friendship simultaneously, and then he conquered Chittagong, Portuguese, and he saved Bengal. And the last part is which you have to read the last last 3 pages of the chapters, that is the relationship with the Rajputanas. So during the rule of Humayun and Akbar and Jahangir and Shah Jahan, till the mid ruling area of Shah Jahan, the relationship between the Rajputanas were very good, because as we have already know that there were 3 sub-wives of Akbar who were the Rajputanas, who were belong from a Hindu family, Hindu Rajputani clan, and Akbar also born in the palace of Mewar, and Humayun was also having one Hindu wife. So simultaneously they were having a very good relationship with the Rajputanas, but slowly during the mid rule of Shah Jahan, from Jahangir's and Shah Jahan's and the last Aurangzeb's, the entire relationship with the Muslim community emerged as an problematic. So the last part, the last chapters of page number 85, we shall be learning about some of the administrative ideology which has been adopted by the Mughal Empire. There were various administrative ideologies which has been adopted by the Mughal emperors, and among them, apart from doing learning that, you have to read about Din Ilahi. Din Ilahi has been founded by the greatest emperor of the Mughal empire, that is the Akbar, and he given some of the do's and don'ts during the complete policies of Din Ilahi. So there were some of the things, some of the hygiene which have followed, that if he or she is following the religion of Din Ilahi, then he should not be having any kind of moustache or some heavy hairs, or they don't have to have played any kind of fasting the entire day. So there were the various things which Akbar had followed for the policies of Din Ilahi, and there were some other parts which you have been having have to know the knowledge, that there were 5 things, that is Sulh Kul, and there were the Afghan rulers who had ruled over or have a very bad policy upon the Mughal Empire. And to know the exact ideological factors, you have to also know about the Mansabdari system, which were very strong in Mughal Empire. Mansabdari system is normal land revenue system. Mansab is a land-based tax, divided land-based tax, and those who used to collected the Mansab, that is the money or the finance, them known as a Mansabdari. So the entire system said to be or called to be as a Mansabdari system. And there were some various physical verifications were used to be in there in the entire ruling and area of Mughal Empire. So there are the various customs or some various reforms which have been followed during the rule of Akbar, some which have been new reforms which also been followed after the rule of Akbar. So simultaneously it went up and down, but the entire military system was very powerful because it was a centralized system, obviously, like as a Delhi Sultanate. So likewise the entire Mughal system has been verifications and been verified into very acknowledged value. The next we shall be in the last page of page number 86 and 87 in your textbook. We shall be learning about the revenue system and the Japti system. So how the revenue system, as I have already said, the system of calculation, the basis of measurement and the accessions of the Zapti, that is a land, said to be a Zapti system, okay, and this is a land revenue system. Next is that the Akbar had introduced the Zapti system, and there were other Todarmals which you have read about, the 9 Zems. He has also established and rectified the land revenue system, and many more things which you have to read the page number 87 so that you can get the complete notification and complete information regarding the entire administrative department and revenue system of Mughal Empire. And in page number 86, don't forget to read about Mansabdari and Jagirdari system. These two are very important subtopics and it's a part of the land revenue system. And I hope you have understood what I have explained it in this particular video, and if you are having any trouble, then do let me know, and then we shall be signing off. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Leave a like and comment. Subscribe and do share the video among your friends.